we just picked up this 93 Cadillac Coupe Deville with 118,000 miles, and it's not running right. It's skipping. Yeah. This is a Coupe Deville, the two-door model. This is one you don't see very much of, and it is minty. I just bought it and they left it on empty for me. It keeps cutting off due to the way it's running. I don't think it has anything to do with the fuel level. Somebody has painted this valve cover, but it's pretty clean. It's got a new fuel pump and a new battery.
Well, looks like you got new motors too.
Kind of does. There's no telling what I'm going to get into with this thing, trying to get it running right. It's either an electrical problem or ignition, or as Jimmy just pointed out, it could be like a clogged catalytic converter. Maybe bad injectors. Something's going on. See, now we got a 59 Coupe Deville at Dad's house and a 93. Pictured here is everything I've bought for the car so far to get it running right. Distributor cap, rotor, fuel injector cleaner, oil and filter. The filter's already on the car. Air filter, plugs, PCV valve, temperature sender, O2 sensor here, fuel filter, spark plug wire set, and some new wipers. After I bought all this stuff, I realized that even though the shop didn't charge, I don't think, for the stuff, they had already put some new Napa wires and plugs on it, new cap and rotor. So that other stuff, I'll save a little bit of money sending that back. There's the old O2 sensor and the new. Old one doesn't really look all that bad. At least we'll know from now on it's new. PCV valve. Guys, while working on this thing, I have encountered a huge problem. There was fuel spewing from this return line right here. So I ordered a new little repair kit. And while I was waiting for that to come in the mail, I went ahead and started to replace the fuel filter. And while I was under there, that broke as well. So what happens is it just gets brittle and breaks right here. If you bend it the least little bit, it just cracks and breaks. So I'm gonna need a new fuel return line and a feed. Here's the feed. And they have put some brackets for these things in the worst positions humanly possible. So it's hard to pull on and get these things out of place. I had to cut this thing in half because it was so difficult to get it off of the little bracket. What I'm going to need is this exact length with the exact same ends. This is a 3/8 feed. The return is 5/16. So however many inches that is, with two ends. And they sell a repair kit with one end and a union, but that's not going to work for me, I don't believe. The repair kit might work fine for me on this return, but not the feed. I don't trust this stuff at all. I'm still waiting on those fuel lines to come in the mail, but something did come in. I've been using this cardboard tube instead of these, which are weak, don't hold the hood up very long, fall on your head. Rock Auto is always way cheaper on stuff like this. Thank you. This fuel line problem has kind of thrown me off a few days, but got the tubing, some end fittings. Now these don't just go right on. You have to press these things on. I called around all over the place trying to find a place that was local that would make these custom size, but there was none. So I bought the Harbor Freight dual temperature heat gun and the accessory kit. I'm gonna try to just heat this up and maybe even put a little heat on this. Now they're nylon and plastic, and then hopefully I can push this on. I'm thinking about putting it in the vise here to hold it still. See how it goes. So the people at the bread tie factory, their dads never taught them righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Because every time I see these, you have to twist them to the right to loosen them off. How much sense does that make? Pressed a little too hard and it kinked it right there. So I'm going to cut that end off. Try again. So it's soft, but it wants to kink up. So that's not good. It just will not go that far. Here's the piece with both ends on it. I'm gonna fish it through here. They give you basically zero ability to work in this little area right here. I can't even push this down to the floor because it's so tight. I literally can't even see down in there to the floor. And there's no space to put my hand. It doesn't help that this is all curled up too. Okay, I think I have that routed around and down into this abyss right through there. Very, very difficult to reach spot. And I'm hoping that when I get under the vehicle, I'll see the other end, be able to grab it and pull it towards the fuel filter. After fooling around with this junk for so long, trying to make the connectors work, but I don't have the right tool for it, trying to heat it, it gets limp, and the stuff won't curve very well. So I just went ahead and made it out of AN fittings and some braided hose that I already had from another project. So that's 4 pieces. You have the piece that goes onto the fuel injection rail, the hose end, and then down at the bottom going into the fuel filter, you have a hose end, and I just put a quick connect on that. So this curve right here was hard to do without kinking that nylon tubing. So I don't think I'll ever try to use that stuff again. I got really aggravated with it. This is much better stuff. And I was able to run that curve and run this down through the factory location. It's the Hornet's Nest Auto Fest on September 2025. Alright, supposedly you can go into a diagnostic mode and read codes by a series of button presses in here. I'm going to press and hold off and warmer at the same time. And then I'm going to look over here. .E, E26, E52, E53, F30, 7.0. I think that 7.0 means that it's at the end of the code. So E26 indicates a lean air fuel mixture caused by issues from a failing oxygen sensor, fuel system problems, vacuum leaks. Check the fuel pressure, inspect the regulator, diaphragm for leaks, check for vacuum leaks, test oxygen sensors, and verify wiring. E52, memory loss, often caused by a disconnected battery, weak battery connection. Well, that's obvious because we've had the battery disconnected at one point here. E53, problem with the distributor, specifically a fault with the RPM signal from the distributor to the ECM. Often indicates a defective pickup coil within the distributor. Replacing the entire distributor is a common solution. Other ignition components like the distributor cap, rotor, spark plug wire should be inspected. All right, so we've got all that stuff new. It makes me wonder about the coil itself, though. Interesting. Last code F30 BCM cannot receive data from the electronic control panel. Serious failure of BCM is leading to symptoms like the AC service light not illuminating, or displays freezing, dimming, or flashing. Now, when I first picked up this car, I noticed some displays at the temperature controls flashing, but I haven't seen that since. So this code being in history is not surprising to me. All right, we're experiencing the blinking screen, which I haven't had in a while. I've driven the car 24 miles with fuel additive, fuel injector cleaner. I'm getting very poor gas mileage. Let's go to average. 5.8 miles per gallon, according to the computer. Whether that's right or not, I do not know. But this has not been happening up until just now. And we just pulled it into home. I checked the fuel pressure regulator to see if it was wet in the vacuum line. It was not. So that doesn't give me a clue. Going on about 80 miles now with this fuel injector cleaner. Absolutely no improvement. So I'm getting a little impatient. I'm going to do some more testing. I went ahead and rented this little fuel pressure test kit and a Noid light set. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that this should go up to about 45 or so and then stay there and not leak down with the key on. Let's find out. Went to 40 and it's holding. That's good. I'd say it's good. Let's move to the Noid tester. So here it is, the PFI port fuel injection, and it's going to be this one. Disconnect harness connector, connect the light, turn the car engine over. Noid light should flash, indicating electrical system is okay. No light or steady light indicates possible problem with signal voltage. So I was able to use the Noid light on 5 of these injectors. This one and these 2 here were too difficult to get to without disassembling the entire top of the motor. So I have decided to let this ECM that's supposed to come in tomorrow come in, plug it in and see what happens. I've already got the old computer unhooked. I can just run the old computer from the floorboard here. If it works, well, congratulations. But if it doesn't, I have a backup plan. If the ECM does not solve the problem, I am going to take all 8 fuel injectors out and have them refurbished. So let's just wait till tomorrow. It's dark now. See if the mailman comes through with the ECM. Here we are a couple days later. The ECM did come in the mail. I plugged it in. It ran exactly the same. The ECM was not the issue with this vehicle. So as I said in the last clip, I'm going to go to the fuel injector. So I followed a bunch of steps from the manual to get this fuel rail loose. It's disconnected from the wiring harness at this plug right here. And it's about to come up. I should be able to test these and see if they have the right resistance, and then have them cleaned up or replaced. Here's the whole fuel rail out of the vehicle. So tomorrow I'm going to come out here and take these clips out, remove the injector, maybe put it on the ohm meter, see if they all read the same reading. If there's one off, then it's probably got a bad place inside of it or whatever, dead coil or whatever. And we'll see what happens then. Stay tuned. All right, I'm going to end up taking all these out, but this first one I checked, it did what I expected it to do. This is what you want for it to be good. Comes in around 16.8. They should all be around that same amount. That honestly does not look very clean, does it? All 8 of these had the same resistance, so that's good. It means they're not shorted out. They don't have to be replaced. This guy that's supposed to clean them up and refurbish them was highly recommended, so I'm going to give him a try. So they're boxed up and ready to go to him. I have not been able to work on this car for 6 weeks because the shop that had those injectors took nearly 5 weeks to get those back to me. They kind of ghosted me for quite a while, and really don't appreciate that, but they seem to have done a thorough job. So let's take a look at what they did. Here they are again, all numbered 1 through 8, and 2 of them turned out to be no good. I'm going to put a little image that he shared with me, or a video that he shared with me, of the dripping and non-spraying injectors now. So right here he tells me which ones were spraying okay and which ones weren't, how much fuel came out at 35 psi over a certain amount of time. And then he said, just go ahead and buy a couple of new ones. These 2 wouldn't clean up well. We're about to try to install this again. Now, it's been 5 weeks or 6 weeks since I took this stuff out. So what sucks about that is I have to kind of get reacclimated to what I was doing, how this all goes back together. As I prepare to put these injectors back in, it's really obvious what what happened here. There's just so much rust. This powdery rust dust infected the system, stopped up the injectors, and so I wonder if there's something I can clean this out with, maybe some brake cleaner or whatever, and something to clean these out. And I got to get these old O-rings out. That did clean up okay. I'm not so sure that that's supposed to be gold in there, but it looks clearer. Now I'm going to blow some compressed air into this and get all that brake parts cleaner out. Now we do know that dries quickly, but I'm going to force the issue. So I'm going to throw out the number 4 and the number 8. Those are duds. Here's the replacements for them. I kind of trust this guy a little better than these eBays, but since I trust them more, I'll put these in an area that's more easily accessible, which would be right here. And I'm going to lubricate these O-rings with this cheap motor oil that I've had on the shelf for like a decade. So lubricate all the O-rings, put them in. I'm going to slide this back into place. Here they are, all clipped in, connected. I'm going to set them into place into their like respective ports, and then run the fuel pump and make sure before I tighten everything down that there's no leaks. All right, after turning the key off and on to cycle the fuel pump a few times, no leaks. So I think we're good to tighten the fuel rail back down and see where that leads us. I can't turn the engine over because the belt's not on and all this stuff. So there's no use trying that yet until we finish. Here's my little diagram I made. I'm glad I do stuff like this all the time, because you would think, you know, you're putting this thing back together in 2 days and then it turns into 6 weeks. And can you imagine just a bucket full of bolts, not remembering where everything goes? But now I know front, back, middle, even here, that reminds me that the throttle goes through this one and the fuel pressure regulator goes through this one. So that's why I do this. Just punch a hole in the cardboard and draw. All right, so I've got everything connected back, the throttle, all the vacuum lines, all the wires, harnesses, even the belt and the power steering pump is bolted back down. So it's now or never. It's time to crank this thing. Check for leaks first. And I may immediately be able to tell that the car is running better. I'm just crossing my fingers. It's got to run better. It's just got to, because as you could tell by that video in the injector tester, there was a couple or 3 that were just basically just dripping. That will cause that kind of issue, the bad stumbling, missing, skipping. So drum roll, let's find out what happens. Let's see. wow. Oh, that makes me so happy. Not sure why it would just cut off on its own. That is odd. There's a little bit of steam coming up from the spill of coolant. Just a little bit of steam in this area. I'm just assuming that when I took the coolant line off right there, some got on the exhaust, and it's been hanging out like that. But there's no leaks. That makes me a little bit worried about the fact that it just cut off on its own out of nowhere. Let's check these codes. Off and warmer. E41, E52. That's it. Can't remember if that's one that we had before or not. Out on a test drive, I came to visit Dad, but he's hunting. This car's running just right. And there is a once in a while, very, very slight miss, but nothing like it was. It was very constant, dead skip. So let's give it a try. Let's accelerate here. Very smooth accelerating. When I start from a dead stop, there's sometimes a slight miss, hesitation. May clear up, may get worse. But I think that the problem and the mystery is solved with those injectors. I'm not getting any spark knocking either like I was before. Right into the eye of the sun. There have been a couple of times now where there was 2 or 3 hesitations before it really smoothed out. Let's see what happens this time. There was a little skip, one tiny little skip in there. No hesitation that time from a rolling start. Smooth passing gear, higher RPMs that time, still fine. Really, really pleased with this. That issue where the car was just suddenly cutting off is likely due to this battery cable bolt here. That looks terrible. So I'm not sure how that happened. Must have been before I owned it, because I definitely don't over tighten the battery bolt. So here's a new one, looking way better. So I haven't driven this car other than just the little test drive, so a few more miles and we'll reset the code. These cars are, to me, just so beautiful. I just can't get enough of the design and the styling. I mean, I think they just hit a home run with these cars back in the day. Every time I see one today, I turn my head and look. And with this one being the color it is, and a 2-door and red interior and the two-tone, it's just got so much going for it. So that's why I decided to buy this. It's a very comfortable car too. So it's kind of one of the new classics out there. But I'm hoping to learn more about it. I'll document it on my channel. I'm hoping to learn more about how to diagnose. You can do a lot more testing and reading on that fuel data center and the climate control. You can check your temperature and things like that and get a lot of readings. I'm gonna learn more about that. I do have a manual, so I'll share that with y'all. So I hope you enjoyed the video getting the car back up and running correctly, and stay tuned for more. Now the Kmart van is up on blocks, and we're trying to get it back going, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel and see more about that as well. See you guys next time.